Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Today's a bit of a doozy. Boy, oh boy. After my record came out, I needed work. And this is actually way later. What am I saying? This is in the 90s. I needed work. So a friend of mine, Vito Bruno, had a company called AM/PM. And I went to work for him for a little bit, and he handled Crystal Waters. You know that song, la-da-dee, la-dee-da. And she's homeless. So I went on the road for a couple of months with Crystal, and I have a story about that, which I'll do soon, I guess. But after working with Crystal, I went back into work at the office. Vito had a place in Brooklyn, a brownstone, where he did all of his stuff. He was working for different radio stations, KTU. He would do things like the disco ball and all those events that the radio stations have where they have like 20 acts performing and stuff. Vito was doing that. So one of the things we did as a project is I knew the owner of Saturday Night Fever Club in Brooklyn, 2001 Odyssey. It had turned into a gay club, and it was called Spectrums, and we used to call it Rectums. Oh my God. But Jay Rizzo was a wonderful guy, and he would do weekend shows there, and we'd see Lolita Holloway, Village People, all that kind of stuff. And since it was the place where Saturday Night Fever was, Vito asked me go talk to Jay. It was either the 20th or the 25th anniversary of Saturday Night Fever, and the radio station was looking for something really massive to promote. They were going to put a couple of $1 million behind this. So we thought, Saturday Night Fever, 25th anniversary, let's do it at Spectrums. So Vito used to be an architect, and he had it set up in a situation where guests would come in through the side entrance of Saturday Night Fever into the main room, have it set up like the old Saturday Night Fever, see the dance floor that was lit, there would be some drinks and hors d'oeuvres, and go out through the main entrance, which is on a side street, which is on 64th Street between 8th and 9th Avenues. I think it's 8th and 9th Avenue. 8th and 9th Avenues in Brooklyn, and we were going to block off the whole block, put a tent over the whole entire block with scaffolding. So if it rained, people were dry. And all the way down at the very end of the block in the intersection, and all this was blocked off, there would be a stage. And we got everybody to agree, from the original Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, the Bee Gees, Yvonne Elliman, was it the Tramps, Tavares, whoever's on that soundtrack, they all agreed to do this, and the radio station was going to cover their expenses and throw them some money. We even got John Travolta to agree. He was going to fly his private jet into Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn, and the runways were basically abandoned, but they were going to permit him to land there, and we were going to have a helicopter take him from Floyd Bennett Field to the park, which was right across the street on 65th Street, land the helicopter in the baseball field, and then a car would just take him literally right across the street, so he would be present at the, on stage and all that kind of stuff. So to do this, we needed to build a stage and build all the scaffolding and have all this stuff done. All the blueprints were done. They were sent to the city. It was all approved. We worked in conjunction with the mayor's office and the local police department, and we had blocked out 4 or 5 blocks that were completely shut off because of this monster event. And WKTU, 92 KTU, the station I did the call letters for, if you look at one of my other things, this is about 10 years later, no correlation between the two. They were fronting the bill, and the bill was about $2.5 or $3 million. They were going to fly in all of their executives from, I think it was part of Clear Channel at that point, all across the country. They had rented a jet, a whole chartered airplane, and people were going to meet in Dallas or in Chicago or something from all these other small towns. So they were all going to get on this plane, come to New York. And this is before the World Trade Center had gone down, and at the base of the World Trade Center was the Omni Hotel. They were going to put everybody in the Omni Hotel, and the good thing about that is the cars and the limos, which there were hundreds, were going to go right outside of the World Trade Center, under Battery Park City, the tunnel to Brooklyn, right over to where the club and the event was. So you're getting the idea. This is a lot of money. There were hotel rooms, chartered jets, airplane flights, permits, scaffolding, rigging crews, stage, lighting, plus the rental of the club, and all this and that. So I remember it happened on a Friday or Saturday night, the week before the radio station was pumping it to 12 million Americans that it was the biggest, most incredible thing ever to happen. All the stars of Saturday Night Fever, oh, I got goosebumps talking about it, were there. And, you had to come and see this, and you were going to win tickets. And if you didn't, you could probably stand 2 blocks away and hear these people. So they had to get crews to build the place, to build the scaffolding and the stage. And then Vito decided to save a little money and get non-union, well, they were union members, but they weren't all from New York City. Well, boy, did we learn a lesson. The unions found out that the guys weren't union. We were saving a bunch of bucks. So they went to the city and had the city shut us down. They had an inspector come in, and the inspector didn't like this and like that because it wasn't up to New York City union code, and that we'd either going to hire union people to fix it, or they were just shutting the place down. Now, it was a Friday, I think it was a Friday or Saturday, probably Friday, that it was going to happen at 5 o'clock rush hour. It was going to start loading in 7 o'clock, and then it would go from 7 to midnight. And Tuesday comes along, and we get a notice, the city shuts us down, everybody had to stop work. Wednesday comes along, they're not approving anything because the unions had all this power, and they're using their inside influence and probably throwing somebody a couple of bucks here and there. Don't approve this, we're going to make them pay for not using union. Thursday comes along, and then finally, I think it was Friday morning, the day of, they okay it, knowing all well that this could never be built in one day. So we hired the New York union people, and they went bananas, working triple time, cost more than it was budgeted, and we tried to get this done. And around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they still haven't put up the stage lights, and the sound systems were just sort of being installed, and the scaffolding was still being built. And it wasn't enough that the unions were against us, and the city purposely dragged their feet, and all that, and all this pressure, and all these stars are coming in. But the skies opened up, and it looked like God was against us too. It was the skies opened up, and it monsooned rain so heavy for an hour and 20 minutes that they couldn't plug any power in. It was supposed to start around 5 o'clock, and at 4:45 or something like that, and it stopped raining, and the union guys are saying, I'm not plugging electricity in that's been sitting in water. So they were trying to dry every stuff out, and around 6:30 or 7 o'clock, we realized that this wouldn't be done before midnight, and John Travolta's plane was landing in like 2 hours or something like that, and all these stars, Tramps to Bars, the Bee Gees, are all sitting at a hotel waiting for the limo to pick them up. So we had to make the call that this was canceled. It cost the radio station, must have been $2 million, $3 million. It was unbelievable. I remember we realized it was just too late. 2 blocks over, we had dressing rooms. Like when they film a movie, they have those caravan portable dressing rooms, and Vito was in one of them with his head in his hand, and I went back out, and where's Vito? And he left. He went back to his office with a bottle of Sambuca, and Frankie Blue was the program director, and they're sitting there both knowing that they're going to get hung from the highest tree in New York City for screwing this up. So we had to call the radio station and say it wasn't going to happen. And as we're canceling this, the radio was on in the background, and hey, everybody, get in your cars and everybody head over to Brooklyn because this is the biggest thing ever. You know, John Travolta and the Bee Gees, and it's a free concert. Not a free concert, I think you had to win to get, but the biggest thing ever. And we're going to go through the Saturday Night Fever Club, and it's set up like the old movie. See you there. We're going to broadcast live in, you know, in a half hour. And we had to cancel that. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, that was not fun. And wow, that was a major, major disaster. I remember he lost quite a few friends on that one. And I believe at that point he stopped working for KTU. It wasn't really Vito's fault. I mean, you know, anybody does big projects like that, you cut a few corners here or there, but we sure learned the power of the unions back in the late 80s, early 90s in New York City. What a trip. What a trip. Anyway, just thought you'd like to hear that story, how we screwed up a couple of $1 million and at the 11 and 10 seconds before midnight left. Again, thank you so much for listening to these. I have a lot more of these. If you don't know, I've done a bunch more. There's some really cool ones if you scroll back. Madonna, I'm going to do one on Boy George. Freddie Mercury, when I met him. Michael Jackson, some stuff about the music business. I hope you're enjoying these. Please comment below. I read all of them. Please tell your friends. We want to get these numbers up to help the channel so more people can see it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate you guys. Have a great day, or night, or week. Thanks. I forgot to add something to my video. Christine Robinson Lawrence has given us passes to go to Universal tomorrow, and thank you. I promised Christine I would thank her. Thank you so much for hooking us up for a full day in Universal Orlando in both parks. We can't wait. Yay. Thank you, darling. Thank you.